Hey people, it is Saturday, July the 6th. The time is 4:23 p.m. and it's a very warm 27 Celsius, feeling more like 30 Celsius with the humidex. Very hot and mostly sunny summer day here in downtown Toronto, or I should say on the western edge of downtown Toronto. I'm on the corner of Bloor and Bathurst, so this is the northwest corner of downtown. And Bathurst Street is considered the western boundary of the downtown core of the city, so I'm going to take a walk heading south along Bathurst here from Bloor as we make our way along the western edge of downtown. I'm not sure if I'll go to the very end of Bathurst, which is down at Queen's Quay. This is the boundary also between the Annex and Koreatown. Koreatown to the west. And we have the Annex to the east, as well as the Bloor-Yorkville neighborhood. So if you look at most official boundaries of what is considered downtown Toronto, most of them do consider Bathurst Street to be the western boundary, and the Don River is usually considered the eastern boundary. And Bloor Street, or sometimes Davenport Road, is considered the northern boundary, and of course the lakefront is the southern boundary. This is the new Honest Ed's redevelopment right here on this corner. These are all newly developed residential buildings, and these are rentals, not condos. And some new retail will be filling up these spaces here eventually. And this will take you over to Markham Street into what was Mirvish Village. And I think Mirvish Village will be coming back in a new form. And they preserve some of the older storefronts worth preserving here as part of the redevelopment. But the new ones actually are just the right size. And the retail spaces are also divided up a little more in keeping with the nature of the neighborhood beforehand, which tends to have a more fine-grained retail. So all in all, this redevelopment, I think, is looking fantastic. The Randolph Theater inside an old church building. You can see more of the new buildings here. Some more retail, by the looks of it, will be fronting on that side as well. Got our first glimpse of the CN Tower. And the financial district coming into view. So Bathurst Street tends to be mostly residential between Bloor, mostly all the way down to the lake, really. There are some small sections of retail along the way. And the more southerly portion of Bathurst has been undergoing a lot of change with redevelopments, mostly mid-rise in nature. But much of it still has a sort of old, gritty 19th century row house look to it. You'll see as we continue further south. Central Tech High School over there. Some of the old housing stock here is quite interesting though. I think this one is really worth looking at. Never actually noticed this one before, to be honest. A lot of it is fairly run down looking. Here's Harvard Street. And the Bathurst streetcar. Harvard Village is running eastward from here along Harvard. Most of these homes are semi-detached. There are some sections of row housing also. Bathurst streetcar will take you up to Bathurst Station, which is right close to where I began the video, just a bit north of Bloor. And from there you can hop on line 2 of the subway. These old enclosed front porches often look a little worse for wear these days. I do like the old school corner stores though. This type of urbanity is quite similar to what you see in a lot of the Northeast Corridor cities in the US. See, it's almost exclusively brick. Everything is packed together really tight. From some angles it looks like a continuous row until you look a bit more closely and see that they're closely spaced semi-detached homes. But then, as I mentioned, there are actual row houses also that we'll come across as we continue south. The age of the housing, I think, varies from the late 19th century into the first decade or two of the 20th century. Once we get south of, say, College, that's where we'll come across more of the 19th century era housing. As well as the row houses. I think eventually, as time goes on, the densification will continue northward up to this area, where we'll see some of these old semis replaced with mid-rise residential buildings. They're old, but most of them aren't really architecturally significant, not necessarily worth preserving. Approaching College Street. Here's some music coming up behind me. Can I escape it? Heading to Exhibition. College in Bathurst. There's Sneaky D's. It's a landmark of the neighborhood here. Although they probably will be relocating sometime in the not too distant future. Due to, you guessed it, a redevelopment with a mid-rise residential building. It's an interesting shirt that guy's wearing. College. start to see the older housing stock. Some 19th century row houses. Ones are looking definitely a bit run down. There's the Cineforum across the street. There's a man there who screens obscure movies in his home, and he's been doing it for decades. He built up quite a reputation in the city in more ways than one, but he's definitely dedicated to showing off obscure cinema. And I think a lot of people have really appreciated his efforts. This is a somewhat new commercial development here on the right. It's a mid-rise development with some retail and offices. A Freshco grocery store, a Winners. There was a Walmart originally proposed to be located here, but that was shot down. It would have been an urban format Walmart. But we're also on the border now with Kensington Market. So the neighbors, or the residents of Kensington Market, were strongly opposed to a Walmart being located so close to Kensington. A couple restaurants here. And a new Firehouse Subs opening soon. I noticed this is becoming more common around the city as well. Another place is coming here, 60 Wings. That's Toronto Western Hospital. If you head down Nassau Street there, it'll take you into Kensington Market. I think a new addition to the hospital is under construction right here. There'll be a new tower. Stand with Ukraine. This is an Ukrainian Orthodox church. Saint Volodymyr. Pretty sturdy looking semi-detached homes here. Chronic House. Must be a weed store. Approaching Dundas Street. 505 Dundas streetcar. That one is short turning. And that'll take you into Little Portugal if you continue west along Dundas. That's Alexandra Park across the street. Both the park and the neighborhood share that name. Some old storefronts. This house here sort of stands out. It's just it looks like a big detached home. It might be subdivided into, yeah, I see two different doorbells, so it looks like it has at least one other unit. This one's quite nice. And here's a Buddhist temple. Let's see if I can get a better look at that once we move away. You can sort of make it out. If I can step out into traffic a little bit here. There it is. And we're going to start heading into the more densely built up portion shortly. That has seen a lot of mid-rise developments. They just haven't quite made their way this far north yet. This part still looks gritty as heck. But I kind of like it. Some row housing here. The old front porches just step down directly onto the sidewalk. At least you don't have any lawns to mow. I've never been a fan of this development here. It just Sort of sticks out like a sore thumb. It is fairly dense though. And these are a bit unusual, just a single story row house. Wonder how old these are. Another old convenience store. Carlton Convenience, but it's nowhere near Carlton Street. This was a steam baths. Or was a steam bath. Private rooms open 24 hours. Doesn't look to be in operation anymore. And there's the streetcar loop, now occupied by buses at the moment. The Queen streetcar, I don't think is running through this section up ahead. And here's a funky looking building, I always thought. Orient building. And another shuttered place here. These are definitely getting on the very gritty side here as we approach Queen Street. Traffic jam here. I just want to make it across the street before the light changes. Crossing Queen. So the streetcar is running here. I'm not sure what the 501 Queen bus was doing in that loop over there. Maybe one of the transit enthusiasts who might watch this video will let me know. I'm a transit fan, but I'm not a hardcore enthusiast. And crossing Richmond Street. Osmo Pocket. Osmo Pocket. Yeah. Hard Knocks Boxing Club. I get quite a few people asking about my camera. I walk past a shelter just back there. And there's quite a huge group of people sort of camped out in front on the sidewalk, so I turn my camera towards the streetcar as I walk past instead of towards the building. That's the same shelter where Johnny and I were doing a live stream past when one of the people out in front saw that Johnny was live streaming and literally came and attacked us. And here is where Adelaide Street begins. There's a look to the east. And you can see things are getting quite a bit taller here the further south we go. Approaching King Street. They're all dressed up, hopefully with some place to go. I didn't know there was a Sweet Jesus location here. That's an ice cream place. And what is Timmy? I'm surprised they're able to keep that name. Obvious reasons. There might be another restaurant or chain restaurant in town with a similar name. Here is King Street. Got a new subway station under construction here for the Ontario line. On both sides. They tore down the old building completely on that side, and they left the facade standing on this side where the old banknote bar used to be. And here's the Wheat Sheaf, billed as Toronto's oldest bar. might be true. There was another bar recently that also called itself Toronto's oldest bar, but that one's closed now, so I guess the Wheat Chief won out in the end. And this sidewalk has been blocked for several years now to make way for this residential building, which is getting close to completion, so it'd be nice to have this sidewalk open back up again. So along this stretch, it definitely feels more like you're on the western edge of the downtown of a large city. Because even if you go further west from Bathurst, it still feels like you're in a dense urban environment. I guess they had to draw the line somewhere. Some people would say Dufferin. That's way too far west, in my opinion, to be considered downtown. I think Bathurst sounds right. And there's Wellington Street. Sure why I'm waiting for the light here. I don't think there's really much in the way of any traffic coming other than bicycles. The popular bicycle path runs along Wellington here now.
I want to get like want to be white like dye. That's really humidity.
Looks like I'm not going to make this light. I don't feel like running. Niagara Street. Maybe once the traffic clears up, I'll just jaywalk. Niagara Street is quite interesting as well. I did a recent walk along there. Lots of nice old historic row houses and some old industrial buildings. And another Buddhist temple also. Some old schools. Quite the eclectic hodgepodge, really, of of uses all along Niagara Street. Kettleman's Bagel. There's a Farm Boy grocery store. Some backfires. And here's the stacked shipping container market. As you can see, it's made up of actual shipping containers. It's a popular spot. for good vibes, go that way. I've done some walks through there too, if you're interested in seeing what it's like in there. There's always tons of copyright music playing in there though, so it's always a bit challenging. And this is the Bathurst Street Bridge.
When they hear him, it's like,
So I might as well keep going right to the end of Bathurst Street. The rail corridor. Not a train in sight. The view is better on the other side where you can get the skyline and the CN Tower.
I'm like, what? I didn't see.
And there's Old Fort York. That predates the city of Toronto. I think it sprung up around the same time as the original town site of York. The town of York was what first grew up in this area and then later being renamed Toronto. That was in the late 1700s, 1793 or 4. Fort York now is just a historical site, a tourist attraction. Is Fort York Boulevard. You can see the old cannon there. I don't know if that's an original cannon that was used from the days of Fort York. Looking into the City Place neighborhood. And the Gardiner Expressway. There are some shops located underneath the expressway here. This is considered part of the Bentway, which runs underneath the Gardiner for some length. I guess this LCBO store is not open. I believe they're on strike now. That's the Liquor Control Board of Ontario. In other words, the liquor store. That's where most people get their booze in Ontario. There are some privately run wine stores, and you can buy some alcohol at grocery stores also. And the beer stores are still open. But if you want the hard stuff, it might be a bit harder to get the hard stuff. Let's see. Loblaws warehouse building, but now it's a nicely renovated or facadized development with a actual Loblaws store. And some condo towers. And some public art here, maybe in keeping with nearby Fort York. Toy soldiers. Step by step, heart to heart, one by one, they all fall down like toy soldiers. Isn't that a song? Here is Lakeshore Boulevard. Always a lot of fun to try to get across here. Even though this is a signalized intersection, it's always a pain in the ass to get across here. I think it's one of the more dangerous intersections in the core of the city for pedestrians and probably for drivers as well. And there's a look to the east. We're approaching the end of Bathurst Street, and strange things are afoot at the Circle K, as always. I just noticed that my mic 2 is not turned on. So I guess I've been recording this video with the camera's built-in audio. Hopefully that worked out all right. I just turned on the mic 2 just to make sure it's still working. Oh, well, I guess we'll find out how that sounds once I get home and upload this video. I did turn it on at the beginning of the video though. For some reason it just decided to turn itself off. But here we are at the end of Bathurst Street. So we walked along the entire western boundary of what is considered downtown Toronto. And there is a bit more road running south from here down to the Billy Bishop Airport Terminal, but it has a different name, which is always a bit tricky to pronounce. I'll just make my way across. All right, let's see if I can pronounce the name of this street that runs further south from here. Looks like Iron Quay, or Iron Key, not Quay. Iron Key, let's just say that's what it is. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. So I hope you enjoyed. Anyway, as I was saying, we walked all the way from Bloor Street down here to Queen's Quay, south along downtown's western boundary. So leave a comment down below if you enjoyed the walk. We took a look at a lot of old historic row houses and some old rundown, gritty looking houses and buildings along the way, and some newer developments a bit further to the south. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal as well as via my merch store. Or you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member or by sending a super thanks if you prefer. And you can find me on Instagram under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and thanks to all the channel members. And be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue.